howdy, folks. I thought I would just jump on here today and say a few words about 20th Century Studios' latest horror movie, Psycho Killer. It's directed by a guy called Gavin Polone, who you probably haven't heard of, but it's written by Andrew Walker, and as a fan of movies, you probably should have heard of him. If you're not familiar with the name, Andrew made a splash in Hollywood around 30 years ago, but the fact that it happened in 1995 is irrelevant. I think the movie Seven earned Andrew Walker cinematic serial killer royalty status for the rest of his days, as far as I'm concerned, which is why this video is going to be challenging to get through with a straight face. The script for Seven was as sharp as a sword and fantastically twisted, and with David Fincher at the helm in the director's chair, between the two of them, I believe they delivered one of the greatest films, literally, of all time.
Oh, what's in the box?
I think that closing scene has to be one of the finest written orchestrations in movie history. The finest closing scene in movie history was the original Blade Runner, but we can argue about that in a different video. And so obviously, when I found out Mr. Walker was having another go at a serial killer thriller, I was excited like everybody else was. But I've noticed something recently when I do get excited about these sorts of announcements, and maybe you can relate. Sometimes I end up mildly disappointed. When I say recently, I mean the last 10 to 15 years, and when I say mildly, but we horror fans live in a state of eternal hope. It's like our lot in life or our default position. And so I told myself, this time it's going to be different. And you know what? It was. If you go to my channel, you'll see there's around 200 videos there. You'll be able to confirm I have never done anything like this before. Do not watch this movie. I forbid you to, out of love and a sincere concern for your happiness and financial well-being. I was genuinely stunned at how bad Psycho Killer actually was. We're talking slack-jawed, I don't want my popcorn anymore stunned. Now, I wasn't really eating popcorn because I didn't actually pay to see this movie. Wink. But I was genuinely excited to see Mr. Walker's latest attempt at another disturbing deep dive into the contorted mind of a maniacal madman, and instead, the violence in the serial killer thriller was about as inspiring as anything AOC would say at an international security conference. Sorry, no politics. Taiwan is where toys come from. This movie's villain is unlaughably bad. There is no discernible story arc anywhere, and the writing of this protagonist has convinced me my documentary is going to be better than this movie is. I'm a humble guy, and I've just said this on the internet, and I've never made a movie before. Our protagonista's name is Jane Archer, as played by Georgina Campbell, whom I normally love. I think she carried the show in Barbarian, along with Bill Skarsgård, who should have been in that movie for a lot longer, I might add. However, I am digressing now, probably as an avoidance technique. The delightful Miss Campbell plays a California Highway Patrol officer who watches the crazy deranged killer kill her husband. You see what I just did there with that little line of repetitious dialogue? I've already done more writing work than Andrew Walker did in the entire movie. Seriously. Understandably, Jane is upset by her husband's death, so she decides to play detective and track the killer down all by herself, because nothing says grieving widow more than an unhinged, sloppy Rey Skywalker revenge mission, especially after she confirms she is pregnant with her dead husband's baby. Go get him, girlfriend. See Jane run. See Jane's water break. I don't know how to do that with my fingers. All kidding aside for a sec, Georgina Campbell was as charming as she always is, and she definitely earned her paycheck, which I am assuming is what motivated her to accept this role after reading the script in the first place. But her character actions were written so badly, you end up hoping the killer takes her out in the first 15 to 20 minutes so she stops making so many moronic decisions. Don't concern yourself about the unborn baby. If I sound callous here, it's just because they wrapped her character up in a suit of plot armor thicker than the entire cast of Stranger Things in season 5. You see, Mr. Algorithm, I can say pop culture things too, even if they are very late and not funny. It's interesting I'm speaking to the algorithm as if it's below me. The supporting cast ranges from meh to we're going to assume they got all of these scenes shot in the first take. Some of the line readings were so awkward, I actually looked away from my TV a few times. The way you look away from your elderly grandmother if she does a big wet fart at the Thanksgiving dinner table and doesn't acknowledge doing it. And when I said TV screen, I meant movie screen, obviously. Wink. Every single one of the characters was like one of those cardboard cutouts you try and steal from the movie theater when you were younger, except those cardboard cutouts were exciting enough to make you want to steal them in the first place, and they're made out of cardboard. Even the great Malcolm McDowell drifted in and out of his role as a devil-worshipping cult leader while the camera was on him, with spotlights, delivering actual lines of dialogue. And I say great because he is a great actor, and he will continue to get a bye ball from me for all of these stupid little side projects until YouTube eventually convinces me to stop doing what I'm doing, because he brought us the greatest anti-hero protagonist in Hollywood history.
Happy polylodges.
Now, aesthetically speaking, this movie's killer wasn't the worst. He reminded me a lot of Johnny from In a Violent Nature, with the lumbering, hulking physique and the distinct, unique gas mask thing. They did make him a bit cartoonish by giving him a bunch of tattoos and making him a fan of heavier music and having him write things on the wall like 666. But you can overlook that type of stuff, or you would have been able to overlook it until he opened his mouth. And the instant he does, everything he says becomes like listening to your 6-year-old nephew trying to convince you that ice cream is definitely the better idea for dinner. His voice is gravelly and like synthetically, artificially too low, and it makes everything he says sound like a joke, even if it's supposed to be something menacing and sinister.
I have your grandmother and she won't stop wet farting, so I'm going to slice her into pieces and make her into a quilt.
He comes off like an angry cow with a sore throat, shouting slurs at passing cars from behind his little fence at the side of the road. I could really see that one clearly for some reason. And for a movie called Psycho Killer, you would think we would get some decent kills. There are some kills, but they mostly happen off screen or in rapid fire succession, so they end up looking about as scary as our friend, the roadside sore-throated angry cow. And one scene features CGI blood so manufactured looking, you would think you were playing the movie on a Game Boy. Ow, you killed my brain. Now, obviously, Andrew Walker's reputation and good name, previously good name, carried this movie into movie theaters and possibly into illegal torrenting. But I can't for the life of me understand why he didn't just Alan Smithy this script into the bottom of one of the dusty filing cabinets at the back of the storage unit his agent probably just moved into. All of the dialogue was cringy as fuck. There was no visible through line connecting any of the story events, and the plot twists were about as surprising as finding out cobwebs are actually old spider webs. If you didn't know that, just pretend you did. And overall, this screenplay from a once brilliant writer reads exactly like something you would have written in 7th grade, back when you were so dark and deep and brooding and destined to change the world with your insights and your art. And look at you now. You're punching a clock 9 to 5, you don't even dress cool anymore, and you hate everything about what you've become. Just like me. This movie was hands down one of the worst viewing experiences I have had in a long time, and I just reviewed The Ward with Amber Heard. I love a good serial killer thriller, but this is not a serial killer thriller, because without tension or stakes or even a tiny bit of intrigue, it can't be a serial killer thriller because it's not even a movie. At the end of the day, Psycho Killer is a nonsensical mess that fails on every front as a movie, and that's why I'm doing something I've never done before and telling you not to waste your time. And that's coming from somebody that didn't have to leave his bed to watch it. Wink, 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 wink. If you're still here, thank you very much for sticking around. And if you want me to do more of these footage-free type videos with newer movies, let me know down in the comments section. Until next time, folks. Wink.